Yo guys, I'm HP, this is Dr. Pink, and today's topic is easy Mixolydian blues guitar. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button, and also join the HPCrazy Guitar Academy. So, what are we talking about today? In the life of any aspiring blues guitar player comes the moment where you're fed up with just playing the minor pentatonics, and then comes the big question, is there something else out there? And the swift answers, yes there is, and that's what we're talking about today. First step to get into this new world using the Mixolydian mode. I just play a few sentences that you get an idea what we're talking about today. And the cool thing is when you make a combination with the minor pentatonics, as I did at the end, then suddenly the minor pentatonics sounds really cool and fresh and not so overused as you probably have a feeling now. So, to understand what we're going to talk about today, you must understand which chords are played in blues. Blues is basically, this blues here, the backing track I created is in the key of G. So we have a G7 chord, we have a C7 chord, and we have a D7 chord. And each chord requires the G Mixolydian mode, the C Mixolydian mode, and the D Mixolydian mode. But that sounds way too complicated. So we want to make it really easy for you guys to already make first steps in this world, and it's already quite good or good enough that you really can step into this new world. So let's get started. As I already mentioned, we first need to check out the chords in order to understand what we're going to do in the next step. So we have, this is a really simple blues, 2 bars G7, 2 bars C7, 2 bars G7, and 2 bars D7, so you have enough time for each of the chords. So you could use either these kinds of, this is a G7, this is a C7, this is a D7. But of course nobody will use those chords because they don't sound really bluesy. So we're using really bluesy type chords, and I suggest this here as a G7, 3, 3, 4. And for the C7 we choose this one here, which is basically a C9 chord. So G7, C7, and for the D we take this here, 4, 5, 3. That will be a D7. Now you just fill in the chords, and we're playing kind of a rhythm, like a standard 2-bar rhythm pattern, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and D7, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. So the main task is that you always know which of the 3 chords currently is played, because you, in the solo, when you use the Mixolydian mode, you need to adapt to which chord is played. In this case, it's quite simple. It's 2 bars each. As I said, I created a really simple training backing track that you can really work this out. So the first thing, probably to get to know where you are, you just play the chords along with your backing track. I'm gonna do this with my backing track. 3, 4, C7, back to G7, and to D7. And now it starts all over again. So, and this is like a, you know, like a grid, which is always moving, and you always need to know where inside the grid you currently are, where your position is, in order that you can follow the chords with the soloing. Now because when we're using the Mixolydian mode, you use G Mixolydian on G7, you use C Mixolydian on C7, and D Mixolydian on D7. This is probably too complicated at the moment, so as I said, today's easy. You don't need to go so far. Mostly in the, you know, in the practical use, it's not so theoretical as you guys might think. You basically just follow the chords. So you need to know where the chords are. So G, C, and D, or G7, C7, and D7. So these are the chords. Now you follow the notes which are pressed in the chords, like something like this. So this figure here is now stick to the G7 chord because we're playing G7 notes. So try it, fifth to the root note, fifth, flat 7 to the root. You already hear the chord when you play these notes. It sounds quite different than if you would play the pentatonics. Here you have no clue which chord is played, but here you hear it. And now, when you want to use this figure here and adapt it to the C, you need to transport it to the exact same interval. So it starts on the triad. So the triad of the C is here, the E. And now you play the exact same figure, triad, fifth, triad, root, fifth, flat 7. So it's exactly the same figure. Or if you want to make it more graphic, you just move it up here. Here it's grabbed exactly the same way. On the D7, also just move it up 2 more frets and you have the same thing. But we want to stay in position because that makes way more sense. But if you want it, if it's too complicated, you just move up and then it's really simple. So on the C, it will be like this. If you're unsure, you just move up. Listen how it sounds. Then you listen here. Sounds the same, so it's correct. And the next one will be let's double check. Sounds okay, so it's this. So let's do that. Yeah, fits perfect. So now we followed the chords, just played chord notes, and if you do that you can make any types of combinations, of course, all works. What also works is this figure. You follow the chord, but you also make the movement here from the fifth to the flat 7 over the scale. And that's a very typical figure in all types of variations, but that's the main figure which is played very often. And now you do the same thing again. Adapt it to the other chords. So this will be for the here will be on C, it will be like you can double check here. So it will be this. And on the E, that one is a bit tricky in this position. It's on one string. Nearly on one string. So probably think about it, put in 1 octave lower. So there you just, you hear it's the same thing, just 1 octave lower. But probably it would be better played an octave higher. So let's do this. Really simple. So, and now the last figure is the third figure is the last figure, which is one of the 3 main figures which are played in blues by using the Mixolydian mode. We have, what are we doing here? This note here is out of the minor pentatonics. What is it doing here? This is called an approach note. This goes an approach note on the third, on the triad. That's very common. You probably know it, you know, and figure out the approach note on the triad. So we finish the phrase like this. Now we want to move it to C. To make double check, we just move it up again. I mean, to play this in the low position, that will be here. No, like this. With this here. And on the D, that one is a bit tricky. Here. But it also works. Or you could consider playing it an octave lower. Yeah, but I would play it in the higher octave. So let's play this third figure. Works. So these were the 3 main figures which are played by using the Mixolydian mode. Follow the chords, make the movement over to the flat 7 over the 6, or using an approach note. And just you make the orientation on the chord itself without even knowing the Mixolydian mode. That's already good enough to really have that type of Mixolydian sound. And then once you have this stuff together, you can just mix it up with minor pentatonics if you want, or you just, I mean, now this was more like an exercise. Then you just mix up these figures the way you want. Or also chord. You guys, as I said at the beginning of this video, the main thing is that you always have this grid of the chords which moves all the time, that you always know where you are. And then you can adapt it here on the fretboard, and that's the main task from the technical part, you don't need to play fast, but the playing with knowing where you are is probably a task for some of you guys, but work on it. It's worth doing the work. Or how is this quote called? The juice is worth the squeeze, or something like that. Yo. Anyhow, I wrote down the tabs of these exercises. It's available in the HPCrazy Guitar Kit plus this practice backing track. It's really cool for practice because it's always 2 bars and gives you space to really focus on what you want to learn here. And yeah, it's available there. Please join the HPCrazy Guitar Kit. If you love what me and Dr. Pink are doing, join anyway. Support us, share the information to the world that we exist, and enjoy guitar playing as much as we are doing. See you guys.